All right, we're making a great cookie called Kourabiedes, and we're adding my chai spice to it because it's like a Greek shortbread cookie. It's a wedding cookie, and it's my mom's recipe, and it's probably my second favorite cookie next to the almond cookies that we make here at Medusa. But anyways, we're gonna get started. We have unsalted butter. I always like to use unsalted butter because it's made with a better quality cream. We have regular sugar. We have 1 tablespoon of my chai, Medusa chai spice. We've got half a cup of powdered sugar. We got 4 ounces of fresh orange juice. We're gonna use only 2 egg yolks. We're not gonna use the whole egg here. We're gonna have about a teaspoon of vanilla, and I get this nice vanilla bean paste, just under $600 a gallon. It's really good vanilla. So anytime you make anything in the kitchen, with all my recipes, the better the quality of the ingredient, the better that it's going to taste. So, and then our dry ingredients after we're done whipping our butter and then adding the sugars and the juice and the seasoning and the eggs and vanilla, then we're gonna add our dry ingredients, which is 7.5 cups of flour, all-purpose, and 1 cup of cornstarch. Cornstarch gives us that texture that we're looking for in this cookie. I've had this butter sitting out for about an hour or so, so you want to get it softened up before you try to whip it. Well, this will take 3 to 4 minutes to get it nice, light, airy, fluffy. You know, twice the volume. Then we're going to add the flavorings, our orange juice, our vanilla, our chai, powdered sugar. Then we're going to add our dry ingredients, cornstarch and flour. We'll fold that in nice. And then we'll be able to make our cookies and bake them. Take about 23 minutes, 350. And we'll be putting them right on top of a powdered sugar tray. Then we'll be powdered sugaring them right when they come out of the oven while they're still hot, so that powdered sugar will form a shell on the cookie. All I need for this recipe are the yolks. I never use my hands when I separate an egg, except to cut that white off. Some people separate eggs by holding them in their hand, but I don't like that, because then the oil from your hand is on the white. Any oil and whites prohibits you from whipping those nice and fluffy if you're using them. Plus, it's unsanitary. I mean, the shell is nice and sharp, but it cuts right through that white, so when you're separating, it really works. Okay, as you can see here, we got a nice fluffy mass. And now we're going to slow that down. And our egg yolks. And make sure you get every bit of that egg yolks. That's what we're using too. Granulated sugar, orange juice, our chai spice, and our powdered sugar. Increase that speed a little bit so we'll get this mixing, but not too fast. We don't want to throw it all over the kitchen. We'll speed it up as it gets incorporated, like so. Make sure we scrape that down so all those seasonings are in there. I wish you were here to smell the chai spice in here. It really has a lovely smell. And we also need half a teaspoon of salt on this. We also have to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Scrape that up onto our paddle so we can get in there. And while we got this off, we'll get our cornstarch in there. And we'll start adding a little bit of the flour. if you had a collar for your mixing bowl, it would be advantageous to use this. I have the 4.5 quart model KitchenAid, and the 5 quart is a better size for this recipe, but it still works. I just had a little bit come out of there. Nothing crazy. Nothing that can't be cleaned up. I lost less than a half ounce of flour, so yeah, it's a little bit messy, but like I said, this mixer is just a half a quart too small for this recipe, so if you're doing this, you can fold this in by hand, or if you've got the bigger mixer, you'll be fine. Now, my mother used to flavor this with ouzo and brandy for the wedding cookies, but today we use chive and vanilla. And then this gets scooped up, baked, and then put on top of powdered sugar and sprinkled with powdered sugar. These cookies don't really spread out at all, so you can scoop them right next to each other. What I like to do is I like just to tap it down a bit. So just a little bit flat on top. Whenever you scale out cookies, you have to be precise so they all cook the same amount of time. So it's important to have a utensil that gives you an exact amount, or as close to as you can. I use the back side of my fingers to pat these down. And like I said, those cookies take about 25-30 minutes, depending on your stove, 350. These cookies are encapsulated in powdered sugar from top to bottom. So what we do, powdered sugar, a sheet pan that we're going to transfer the hot cookies onto. And we're going to be cooking 2 pans of cookies, and we'll be able to fit them both on here because when we take the cookies off the pan, we're going to put them right next to each other. They're not going to have a lot of color. They're going to be slightly brown around the base. You can see they're nicely brown underneath, but they don't get any color on top. So now these come off hot right next to each other on the powdered sugar pan. My mother used to have foil all over the tables at home. And every pan of cookies that came out had all the foil on the table, all powdered sugar ready to go. So we cook cookies for Christmas or Easter. The whole house smelled like a bakery. And everybody was busy helping, either rolling cookie dough or taking cookies off of pans, but it was fun. All right, now while these cookies are still hot, they get a generous amount of powdered sugar on them. I mean, you don't want to see the cookie dough. And because the heat of the cookie, that powdered sugar will set up a little bit. My mother used to put powdered vanilla into her powdered sugar. It's just for that extra vanilla. You'd like, I didn't do that here, but that's something that you can do as well. If you roll this cookie dough in your hands, it won't be cracked like this.